Well, over the weekend, we saw a team known as Brighton put 6 goals past Wolverhampton Wanderers. And in that game, De Zerbi, the manager of Brighton, found himself in a position of benching Mitoma, Alexis McAllister, Moise Caicedo, and Levi Colwill. Almost his cream de la cream, all the best players of Brighton this season were seen benched, and obviously he named a different starting 11 altogether. And if at all we are to all go out and really see how the starting 11 of Brighton was when they were beating or annihilating Wolverhampton Wanderers, it was as follows. And where is it? 6-0 against Wolverhampton Wanderers. This was the starting 11 of Brighton. They're having Stelly in goal, Veltman right back, Webster and Dunk central defense, Istopian left back, then Probe and Gillimore played in the double pivot, Match, Undev and Ensko were the 3 attack midfielders, and then Welbeck led the line, meaning that he went ahead to rest players as we prepared for this game. There is no lie about it. He really rested the players because he wants to do what we call a revenge on what United did to him on the 24th, I think it was 24th of April, when we knocked them out of the FA Cup on penalties. So welcome to this channel known as United Matters channel. We are here to bring you Brighton versus Manchester United preview as we get ready for the game tomorrow. And I think it's tomorrow, but for 1 year it's on Thursday. Tomorrow is Wednesday. Now, even Erik ten Hag had to make some good changes. I saw him bench Martial and Antony, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, 3 players that I think are really going to be so much pivotal into this game, and he all benched them in the name of the game of Brighton, because when you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he closed down Mitoma very well, and Mitoma went ahead to give him the props after the game of football. Then Martial is another one that is well matched in this game of football, and then Antony. So we are going to really discuss the match preview of this game of football as we tell you who do we think United are going to start and who do you think Brighton are really bringing on the field of play to play. So our recent game, we won against Brighton by we won against Aston Villa by 1-0 at Old Trafford. Was scored by Bruno Fernandes. Then for Brighton, they beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 6 goals to nil. Now, for United, I think we last lost a game of a Premier League game when you're playing against Newcastle. That was on the 2nd of April, but we went ahead to win against Brentford 1-0, Everton 1-0. We beat Nottingham Forest 2-0. We drew 2-2 with Spurs, and we beat Aston Villa in all at Old Trafford, meaning that in our last 6 games, we've gone ahead to win 5 and draw 1. Not a bad form for United. When you look at Brighton, from the start of April, they found themselves really they first drew with Brentford 3-3 at home. Then they beat Bournemouth away 2-0. Tottenham beat them 2-1. They beat Chelsea by 2-1. Nottingham beat them by 3-1. Then Brighton forced Wolves to conquer 3 into them. So it shows you that at least we are having a very huge run in our previous 5 or 6 games than Brighton. And if at all teams like Brentford have gone ahead and really collected a draw at the Falmer Stadium, I think we can also go there and really collect one, because we are really one of those teams that is really in good shape with most of the players returning. If you talk about the returnees that might find themselves playing this game of football, Alejandro Garnacho is really one of those that whose team news has dropped in today early that he might find himself traveling to Brighton to the Falmer Stadium on Thursday, as we play this team of Manchester United. And the other injuries, Danny Van Beek is back, and I think he's soon getting back to the grass, and you never know, he might play part into the remaining 1 or 2 games of the season, especially the game we are playing against Fulham, I think at Old Trafford, that really closes down our season. Then the other game that we're going to play against Man City, that is the finale, you might see Donny van Beek amongst the players that are going to be named in the squad to face Manchester City. Then Rafael Varane is out 6 weeks We never know whether he can make to play to the finale, but this game that you're going to play against Brighton is out. Lisandro Martinez is out until the end of the season. For him, no expectations for him to return as soon as possible. I think those are the players that you're not having. And Harry Maguire returned from injury and made it the bench on in the game of Aston Villa that saw us beat them by 1-0. I think those are the injured players of United. The rest of the players are really fresh and fit to come in and really get the job done and dusted at Old Trafford. When you go to Brighton, they're really having a lineup of injured players. When you look at them, they're really having Jakub Moda, knee injury. Tariq Lamptey is having an injury. Jeremy Sermitio, ankle injury. Adam Lallana is having a thigh injury. Then Evan Ferguson is one of those who's really nursing an ankle injury. And Joel Veltman found himself taken off the pitch when they are playing Wolverhampton Wanderers, when he was really having a little bit of an injury, but he has been described as a minor one, so you never know, he might come in and really play part into this game of football. So that is the list of injured players of a side known as Brighton, meaning that they are really going to find themselves in a position of really coming to full strength to really go ahead and really give United the best of attack that we might not have seen for this season. Because remember, this is the game that marked the competitive season or the competitive era of Erik ten Hag at Manchester United. And at Old Trafford, they beat us by 2-1. By the time it was Graham Potter managing the team. But this time around, it's De Zerbi, a manager who's going to have to really implicate exactly what Graham Potter left at the club. Now, let's get into this. And remember, why do we need to win this beautiful game of football? It's because we want to really close down. You know, we don't want Liverpool to be gifted a chance of even coming close to our position. We want to go and play into the Champions League this time round. And obviously, the likes of Newcastle have gone ahead to play one more game than us. Having played one more game than us, this is the game we have in hand. We have to win. By the way, if we win it tomorrow, we'll find ourselves in a position of being into the third position with 66 points, 1 point ahead of Newcastle. And remember, Newcastle is playing Arsenal on Sunday. Not so? Newcastle is playing Arsenal on Sunday, and with them playing Arsenal on Sunday, you never know what's going to come out of that result. They'll find themselves maybe in a losing or drawing mode, such that we can go ahead and overtake them by 4 or 3 points ahead of them. Let's get to the team that we expect Erik ten Hag to name as far as Brighton versus Manchester United game is concerned at the Falmer Stadium that was previously known as Amnex. Now, the system is 4-2-3-1 for Erik ten Hag. You know that very well. 4 defenders, a double pivot, 3 attack midfielders, plus 1 center forward. In goal, David De Gea. He's really trying to silence his haters. That I'm really one of those best ball distributors that you'll go on and really talk about into this beautiful game of football. When you go to the right back, I think it's Aaron Wan-Bissaka coming in through to face Mitoma. I understand Dalot had a very brilliant display when you're playing Aston Villa, and he found himself in good positions of defending and closed down the likes of Benarema very well. But this time around, Dallas going to hate to play very many games, and I think it's high time the manager benched him and obviously brought on Aaron Wan-Bissaka to face Mitoma, as Mitoma went ahead and really gave this man his props as far as defending him were concerned in the game of the FA Cup. That is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. So I expect him to really return. Remember, he's one of those players that was never played a single minute in the game of Aston Villa, meaning that the manager wanted to keep him fresh for this game because he knows how important it is. And Ten Hag is going to go all out for a win. On the left back position, I think it's going to be Tyrell Malacia, a man who really looked solid as we played against Aston Villa, and I saw some flashes of him improving his end product to his game. So I think he's going to start away at Brighton because he needs to really start and see at least Diego Dalot rested. Maybe he'll be brought on later, but I think, sorry about that, he deserves to be rested. That is Diego Dalot for you. So central defense, Though Harry Maguire is back fit, I expect Lindelof, who really put in a very scintillating performance in the game of Aston Villa, and Luke Shaw to play into that central defense, with Luke Shaw playing on the left side of the central defense and Lindelof playing onto the right side of the central defense, because even when we played Brighton in the FA Cup semi-final, they are the ones that really played well against Danny Welbeck and so many others, and then we kept a clean sheet. So ever since this lineup has gone ahead to play, or that back line has gone ahead to play, we've kept a clean sheet against Brighton, we've kept a clean sheet against Everton, there is Aston Villa, and very many games. So I think it's really great that if we can keep a clean sheet against Villa, and you go ahead and really deploy the same central defense partnership, we can go ahead and really get 3 points from Brighton down in Falmer Stadium. Central midfield. Remember, for the very first time I saw him play or start Eriksen, Casemiro, Bruno Fernandes, and Sabitzer. Now, how do we expect it to go on? I expect him to bring on a man who has gone ahead to find his form back in his legs, that is Casemiro, into the double pivot alongside Eriksen. Eriksen into that midfield. I expect him to start alongside Casemiro in that double pivot. Remember, Casemiro gave us the best that he has gone ahead to really reveal to us this season ever since he came back from suspension. That's it. So he really had a very good display against a team known as Aston Villa, and I think he's going to face McAllister and Caicedo in that midfield, and it's going to be a very huge battle. That's where Eriksen needs to really up his game of tenacity and physicality in that game. Now, Bruno Fernandes Borges, central attacking midfielder. That's the player we expect to be playing to the cam position, and he's going to captain this team of United. That is tomorrow on Thursday, as we play a team known as Brighton, and that midfield will have to go ahead and really give the best protection to the defense and obviously outcompete McAllister and a player known as Caicedo. So after that, one of the players that was really benched in the game of Aston Villa is Antony, and I expect him to start on the right attacking side of the midfield, because, you know, players, if at all they've been so wasteful, they just find or deserve to find themselves in a position of being benched, to give them a wake-up call that this position is not yours for keeps. You need to play to the levels of this team to really keep yourself into this team. If at all you don't do so, then you won't be anywhere near getting close to really getting into this team. So Antony is expected to start onto the right attacking side of the midfield, to come in through and obviously prove to the manager that, please, I was benched, I understood my mistakes, and I'm willing to go ahead and really change and do the needful. But I think this is the game you expect Antony to explode, to really take on Estupiñán. Then when you look at Marcus Rashford, he has gone ahead to find himself on target in the previous 2 games, and has gone ahead to put in what we call, he has gone ahead to find himself on target once in the game of Tottenham Hotspur, right? Then he went ahead to really put up 2 assists in those 2 games. Against Tottenham Hotspur, he put up 1 assist, and against a team called Aston Villa, he was responsible for the goal that a player known as Bruno Fernandes went ahead to score into that game. So I expect him to really start, and guess who's leading the line? I expect Anton Martial to start and obviously do the needful for the team of Manchester United. So Malacia will be facing Kroos, Welbeck will be facing Luke Shaw and Lindelof, and I've talked about the midfield battle, but we want to see these players really tracking back to really cause a lot of havoc to a team of Brighton. So I think the worst result we are getting about Brighton is going to be a draw, according to me, because I know we are having lots of things that can really go ahead and really torment this team of Brighton, because this team of United really looks more serious, and we know what we want is to go ahead and really play in the Champions League. Winning on Thursday gives us lots of chances to play into this beautiful game of football. So I expect us to really put up a very brilliant display that everyone will go on and really hail. That United are really making a commanding statement of really playing into the Champions League. I understand Brighton are one of the best teams in the league, especially as far as footballing is concerned. And at home, they are really a hard side, you know. They're a hard nut to crack. But with all the forces that we are having, the likes of Alejandro Garnacho coming back, I think we can really get this side to the sword. And I really anticipate that the manager won't risk Harry Maguire into this game of football to be destroyed, you know. We just have to keep ourselves in a position of really getting in the right players, in the right positions to really win. When you look at Alejandro Garnacho, I think he's going to be a bench player, but you know his impact he has every time comes off the bench. And if at all you happen to win this game of football by 3-1, 2-1 or 1-0, I won't be surprised because I know we are into epic form. We last lost a game of football on the 1st of April and we've gone ahead to win the rest of the games and only drawn with one team known as Spurs, and we just happen to bottle it. Because we are leading by 2-0, and we found ourselves in a position of really losing that beautiful game of football. So guys, thank you very much for watching me through, telling me your thoughts about this beautiful game of football. Your predictions are welcome in the comment section below. I've told you about everyone who is available and the others who are not available, so it's up to you to let me know. Who do you think the manager Erik ten Hag should go all in and really name in his starting 11? You've heard my prediction, and I think you are really ready to let me yours. Rokan David is my name. I cover you all in the precious blood of Jesus Christ. One more story left for us to present here for you. I'm out. Bye-bye.